The amphitheater was huge. It held more than 2,000 students from 47 different species. The seats rose up in circles around the central stage. Commander Velthar stood at the center under bright lights. His forearms moved as he spoke. His skin was dark purple and shined under the lights. Jiwan sat in the back row. He was the only human in the room. His blue uniform looked plain next to the colorful bodies around him. Some students had scales, some had fur, some had extra arms or legs. One student near him had wings folded against its back. The class was Advanced Combat Tactics. Today's lesson was about how to fight different species. Commander Velthar had been teaching for 3 hours. He showed pictures and videos. He explained weak points and strong points. He talked about which weapons worked best. A student with 6 eyes asked a question. What about the Kelthran? How do we stop their speed? Good question, Velthar said. The Kelthran move fast, very fast, but they have thin bones. A strong hit will break them. Use heavy weapons. Aim for the legs first. The commander moved to the next slide. More pictures appeared on the screen. More species. More ways to hurt them. Jiwan wrote notes in his tablet. He had been writing all day. Finally, Velthar reached the last species on his list. The screen showed a human. It looked like a normal person from Earth. Nothing special, no claws, no armor, no poison. Now we come to Homo sapiens, Velthar said. He waved one arm at the screen. Humans, a common species in the galaxy now. You will meet them often. You might work with them, you might fight against them. The room got quiet. Some students looked at Jiwan. He kept his face calm. He had known this moment would come. Velthar continued. Humans are weak compared to most species. They have no natural weapons. Their bones break easily. They get sick from many things. They cannot see in the dark well. They cannot run as fast as many other species. A student with green skin raised a tentacle. Then why do we need to study them? They sound easy to defeat. Several students made sounds that might have been laughter. Velthar's face did not change. That is the question I want you to answer, the commander said. His voice was serious. How do you slay humans? What is the best method? What weapons should you use? Where should you aim? The students started talking to each other. They shared ideas. Some pointed at the screen. Others made notes. Jiwan raised his hand. The room got quiet again. All eyes turned to him. Velthar looked surprised for a moment. Then he nodded. Yes, Officer Jiwan, the commander said. Jiwan stood up slowly. His chair made a small sound. He looked at the commander, then he looked at the students around him. You don't, Jiwan said. His voice was quiet but clear. Velthar's 4 arms stopped moving. Excuse me? You don't slay humans, Jiwan repeated. He spoke a bit louder now. That is my answer to your question. The room filled with noise. Students chittered and buzzed and growled. Some laughed. Some looked angry. A large student with red scales shouted something in a language Jiwan did not know. Velthar raised one arm. The room got quiet. Officer Jiwan, the commander said slowly. This is a serious class. We are learning combat tactics. Your answer is not helpful. Please sit down. Commander, I am being serious, Jiwan said. He did not sit down. You asked how to slay humans. My answer is simple. You don't. You should not try. This sounds like human pride, said a student near the front. It had blue fur and sharp teeth. You think your species cannot be beaten? No, Jiwan said. I know humans can be killed. We die easily. A single bullet can kill us. A bad fall can kill us. Poison can kill us. Disease can kill us. We are fragile. Then what are you saying? Velthar asked. He sounded confused now. Jiwan looked at the image on the screen. It showed a human standing straight, arms at the sides, face calm. I am saying that killing a human is easy, Jiwan said. Slaying humanity is impossible, and trying to do it is the worst mistake you can make. The students were quiet now. They stared at him. Velthar's face was hard to read. The commander's species did not show emotions the same way humans did. Explain, Velthar said. Jiwan took a breath. You have taught us about weak points today, about how to hurt different species, how to stop them, how to kill them efficiently, but you have missed the most important thing about humans. And what is that? The commander asked. We remember, Jiwan said simply. We remember everything. We remember who hurt us. We remember who killed our friends. We remember who destroyed our homes, and we never forget. He pointed at the screen. You see one human. You think it is easy. You kill that one human. But that human had a family, had friends, had people who cared. Now those people remember. They come looking for you. So you want revenge, said the student with 6 eyes. Many species want revenge. No, Jiwan said, not just revenge. We are persistent. My people evolved as hunters. We did not have claws or poison. We could not run fast. So we walked. We followed our prey for days, sometimes for weeks. We walked until the prey was too tired to run. Then we took it down. He looked around the room. That is what we still do. You hurt one of us, we come after you. You hurt 10 of us. We send 100 after you. You destroy one of our cities. We remember for generations. We do not stop. We do not get tired. We just keep coming. Velthar was silent for a moment. Then he spoke. This is an interesting theory, Officer Jiwan, but it is just words. We learn through practice in this academy, not through stories. Then let me show you, Jiwan said. Give me a practical test. Put me in a combat simulation. Send your best students to hunt me. Let them try to slay the human. The room erupted with noise again. Students shouted. Some wanted to volunteer. Others said it was not fair. The large student with red scales stood up and roared something. Velthar raised both his upper arms. The noise stopped. Very well, the commander said. His voice was cold now. Next week, combat simulation arena. I will select 5 students. Their mission will be simple. Track and eliminate one human target. You, Officer Jiwan. Jiwan nodded. I accept. Do not be so confident, Velthar said. I will choose students who have trained for years. They know tactics. They know weapons. They have killed before in simulations. I understand, Commander, Jiwan said. He sat down slowly. His heart was beating fast, but he kept his face calm. Velthar turned back to the screen. Class dismissed. I will post the names of the selected students tomorrow. The simulation will be in 7 days. Study your notes. This will be on your final exam. The students began to leave. They talked in their own languages. Some looked at Jiwan as they walked past. Most looked curious. A few looked angry. The large student with red scales stared at him with yellow eyes. Then it left. Jiwan stayed in his seat. He looked at his tablet. His notes filled many pages. Information about 46 different species. How to hurt them. How to kill them. But not humans. The section about humans was blank, because Velthar had been teaching the wrong lesson. Jiwan closed his tablet. He stood up and walked toward the exit. The amphitheater was empty now. His footsteps echoed in the big room. He had 1 week to prepare, 1 week to show them what it really meant to hunt a human, 1 week to teach them the most important lesson of all. Some prey fights back. 7 days passed quickly. The news spread through the academy. Everyone knew about the simulation. Students talked about it in the halls. Teachers discussed it during meals. Some placed bets on how long Jiwan would last. Commander Velthar had chosen his 5 students carefully. Each one was special. Each one was dangerous. Sora was a Kelthrin. She had silver skin and moved like water. Her species was famous for being sharpshooters. She could hit a target from 2,000 meters away. Her eyes could see in many light levels. She never missed. Taeyang was a Vrexian. He was huge. His body was covered in thick armor plates. His species was built for heavy weapons. He could carry guns that would break a human's arms. His skin could stop most bullets. He was slow but unstoppable. The other 3 students were also skilled. One could turn invisible. One could track scents from kilometers away. One had claws that could cut through metal. They spent the week preparing. They studied human anatomy in the library. They learned about human weak points. The heart, the brain, the throat, the spine. They memorized diagrams. They practiced aiming at human-shaped targets. "This will be easy," Taeyang said during practice. He fired his heavy weapon at a target. The target exploded into pieces. Humans have no armor, no thick skin. The instructor was right. They are fragile, Sora nodded. She loaded her rifle with practice rounds. "One shot. That is all I need. I will aim for the heart. He will not suffer." The day of the simulation arrived. The combat arena was underground. It was a huge space that could change shape. The walls could become forests or deserts or cities. The floor could become water or ice or mud. It felt real. The pain felt real too, though it could not kill anyone. 200 students filled the viewing gallery above the arena. They wanted to watch. Commander Velthar stood at the control panel. He could change the environment. He could watch everything through cameras. The 5 hunters stood at the entrance. They wore combat gear. They carried weapons. They looked ready. Jiwan stood alone at the opposite side. He wore simple clothes. Dark pants. Dark shirt. He had one knife on his belt. No gun, no armor. He looked small compared to the hunters. "The rules are simple," Velthar announced. His voice echoed through speakers. "The hunters must find and eliminate the target. The target must survive for 4 hours. The environment is a jungle. Scans show water sources, edible plants, and dangerous animals. The simulation will hurt, but it cannot kill. Begin." The arena changed. The smooth floor became dirt and grass. Trees grew up from the ground. Thick vines hung down. The air became hot and wet. Sounds of insects and birds filled the space. The jungle looked and felt completely real. Jiwan did not wait. He ran into the trees and disappeared. The hunters checked their weapons and moved forward. Sora climbed a tall tree. From up high, she could see far. She had special goggles that detected heat. She scanned the jungle slowly. There, a heat signature. Moving fast. About 800 meters away, she signaled to the others. They moved as a team. The student who could track scents led the way. The jungle was thick, but they pushed through. They were confident. They were skilled. This was just another training exercise. After 20 minutes, they found him. Jiwan was walking near a small stream. He was limping. His left leg seemed hurt. He moved slowly. He kept looking back over his shoulder. Sora aimed her rifle. This was too easy. Something felt wrong. But the target was right there. Clear shot. No obstacles. She pulled the trigger. The shot was perfect. It hit Jiwan in the center of his back. He fell forward into the water. His body floated face down. The hunters approached carefully. Taeyang kept his heavy weapon ready. The student with claws moved to the front. They reached the stream. Jiwan was gone. Only his shirt floated in the water. No body, no blood. Trap, Sora said. She scanned the area with her goggles. Nothing. No heat signature. Taeyang checked the water. It was cold, very cold. That was why the thermal scan had not worked well. Jiwan had covered himself in cold mud. He had left his shirt as a decoy. Smart, the tracker said, but he cannot hide forever. I have his scent. They followed the scent trail deeper into the jungle. An hour passed. Then 2 hours. They kept finding signs. A broken branch. A footprint in mud. Drops of blood on leaves. But they never found Jiwan himself. He stayed ahead of them, always just out of reach. The hunters were getting tired. The jungle was hot. The air was thick. Taeyang's heavy armor made him slow. The student who could turn invisible was breathing hard. Even Sora was sweating. Then they saw him again. Jiwan stood in a clearing. His face was dirty. His clothes were torn. He had a cut on his arm that was bleeding. He looked exhausted. The student with claws charged forward. It was fast, very fast. It reached Jiwan in seconds. Its claws slashed across his chest. 3 deep cuts. Jiwan screamed and fell. The student stood over him. Got him, finally. But when it looked down, Jiwan was smiling. Not a happy smile. A grim smile. Took you long enough, Jiwan said. Then he pressed something in his hand. A trap sprung. A net made of vines shot up from the ground. It caught all 5 hunters together. They struggled, but the vines were strong. They had walked right into it while focusing on Jiwan. Jiwan stood up slowly. The wounds on his chest were real. The simulation made them hurt. But he ignored the pain. He looked at the trapped hunters. "You were thinking like predators," he said quietly. "You hunted prey, but humans are not just prey. We hunt too, and we set traps." He turned and walked away. The vines would release the hunters in 10 minutes, but the lesson was taught. Hours later, they tried again. The hunters were more careful now. They worked together better. They did not chase Jiwon when he ran. They set up ambushes. They waited. It worked. The tracker found Jiwon near a cliff. The invisible student blocked his escape. Sora had him in her sights from 3 sides. Taeyang stood ready with his heavy weapon. They opened fire all at once. The bullets hit Jiwon from multiple directions. He fell hard. This time there was no trick. The simulation registered severe damage. Critical injuries. He should not be able to get up. But Jiwon got up anyway. He was slow. He was hurt. Blood covered his face. One arm hung useless at his side. But he stood. "Why do you keep moving?" Taeyang shouted. "You are finished." "The simulation shows you should be dead," Jiwon coughed. His voice was weak. "Because humans do not quit. Pain does not stop us. Injury does not stop us. Only death stops us. And sometimes not even that." He limped toward the edge of the cliff. The hunters aimed their weapons again. But before they could fire, Jiwon jumped. He fell into the river far below. The water was rough. Fast current. Sora ran to the edge. She scanned the water with her goggles. Nothing. The current must have carried him away. "Should we follow?" the tracker asked. "No," Sora said slowly. She was starting to understand. "He wants us to follow. He is leading us, making us tired, using our weapons against us." The 4-hour time limit reached 0. Alarms sounded in the arena. The simulation ended. The jungle faded away. The walls became smooth again. Jiwon emerged from a drainage tunnel at the far side of the arena. He was soaked. He was covered in bruises and cuts. He walked with a limp. But he was walking. He was alive. He had survived. The viewing gallery was silent. 200 students stared. They had watched everything. They had seen Jiwon get shot, get cut, get beaten. They had seen him fall from a cliff, but he had not stopped. He had not given up. He had kept moving. Commander Velthar stood at the control panel. His forearms were still. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes were different now. There was something new in them. Respect. Maybe even fear. Jiwon looked up at the gallery. He made eye contact with Velthar. Then he spoke. His voice was quiet, but it carried through the arena. That was one human, injured and alone, with no weapons and no support. Now imagine 100 humans. Now imagine 1,000. Now imagine what happens when you give them a reason to come after you. He turned and walked toward the medical station. His footsteps echoed in the silent arena. Sora stood watching him go. Her rifle hung loose in her hands. She had hit him. She knew she had hit him. Direct shot to the back, direct shot to the chest. But he had kept going. "How?" she whispered. "How is that possible?" Taeyang shook his head slowly. His heavy armor suddenly felt light compared to what he had just learned. Maybe that is the wrong question. Maybe we should ask why. Why do humans keep going? In the gallery, students began to leave. They talked in quiet voices. The jokes from before were gone. The laughter was gone. They had learned something today. Something important. You can hurt a human. You can break their bones. You can make them bleed. But making them stop is a different thing entirely. The medical bay smelled clean. Too clean. Hana, the academy's medical officer, worked at her station. She had pale green skin and gentle hands. She had been a doctor for 20 years. She had seen many injuries, many species, many ways to hurt and heal, but she had never seen anything like this. Jiwon lay on the examination table. Medical scanners moved over his body. They showed everything: broken ribs, damaged muscles, internal bleeding, cuts and bruises everywhere. Any other species would have stopped hours ago, would have collapsed, would have died. "Hold still," Hana said softly. She applied medicine to the cuts on his chest. "These are deep. They will leave scars." "I have many scars already," Jiwon said. He looked at the ceiling. His voice was tired but calm. "Humans collect them. Each one tells a story." Commander Velthar entered the medical bay. His forearms carried data tablets. He looked at the scanners, at the injuries, at Jiwon lying broken but alive on the table. The simulation data is unusual, Velthar said. Multiple critical hits. You should have been unable to continue. Yet you did continue. I need to understand how? Hana finished bandaging Jiwon's chest. She turned to face the commander. I have been studying human medical files all night. May I explain? Velthar nodded. Hana activated a holographic display. It showed a human body. All the systems. All the organs. All the weak points. Humans look simple, Hana began. No armor, no poison. No regeneration. But they have something else. Something most species lack. They have redundancy. She pointed at the heart. Most species have one heart. Humans have one too. But humans also have backup systems. When injured, their bodies release chemicals. Adrenaline, it makes them stronger, faster, it blocks pain. A human with adrenaline can ignore injuries that would stop other species. For how long? Velthar asked. Minutes. Sometimes hours. Sometimes days, Hana said. It depends on the human. On their will. On what they are fighting for. She changed the display. It showed human evolution. Primitive humans hunting large animals. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. They did not have speed or strength, so they developed endurance. They can keep going when others stop. They can ignore their body's warnings. Velthar studied the display. This explains the simulation, but it is temporary. Eventually the body fails, yes, Hana agreed. But by then the human has usually accomplished their goal, or died trying. Humans do not have armor or claws. They have spite. They have stubbornness. They have the ability to keep fighting when their body tells them to stop. Jiwon sat up slowly. Pain crossed his face, but he did not make a sound. The doctor is right. My people survived ice ages, plagues, wars, disasters. We survived because we are too stubborn to die easily. Velthar was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. I want you to give a lecture to the class tomorrow. Explain this to the students. Show them what they learned in the simulation. The next day, the amphitheater was full again. More than 2,000 students. But this time it was different. They were quiet, respectful. They had watched the simulation. They had seen what one human could do. Jiwon stood at the center stage. He still had bandages on his arms. He still walked with a slight limp. But he stood straight. He looked at the students around him. Thank you for watching yesterday, he began. I know some of you were disappointed. You wanted to see the hunters win. You wanted to see the human fall and stay down, he paused. But that is not how humans work. Let me tell you about my species. Let me tell you about persistence hunting. He activated a display. It showed Earth, Africa, long grasslands under a hot sun. My ancestors lived here. They were not strong. They were not fast. A lion could kill them easily. A leopard could kill them easily. Even large birds could kill them. So how did they survive? A student in the front row asked. It was Minho. He was a quiet student. He rarely spoke in class, but now he looked interested. They walked, Jiwon said simply. They saw a deer. The deer was fast. It ran away. So they followed it. They walked after it for hours. The deer stopped to rest. My ancestors kept walking. The deer ran again. They followed. All day, all night. The next day, they never stopped. Eventually, the deer collapsed from exhaustion. It could not run anymore. Then my ancestors killed it. Not with speed, not with strength, with patience, with persistence. He changed the display. It showed more human history. Cities burning, wars raging, people fighting. This is what we still do. We follow, we persist. We never stop. Commander Velthar taught you about weak points, Jiwon continued, about how to hurt different species. He is right. Humans have many weak points. Our bones break, our skin tears. We bleed easily, but we also have something you need to understand. We have memory. We have determination. We have refusal to accept defeat. Sora raised her hand. She looked different than before. Less confident. More thoughtful. I shot you yesterday. Direct hit to the back. The simulation showed critical damage. How did you keep moving? Pain, Jiwon said honestly. It hurt very much, but pain is just a signal. My body told me to stop. I chose not to listen. Humans can do that. We can override our survival instincts. Why? Taeyang asked. The large Vrexian leaned forward in his seat. Why ignore your body? Why keep going when you should stop? Jiwon smiled slightly. It was not a happy smile. Because sometimes stopping means dying. Sometimes stopping means your family dies, your friends die, your species dies. So humans learn to keep moving even when it hurts, even when it seems impossible. He showed more images. Human explorers in frozen wastelands, soldiers crawling with broken legs, scientists working through illness. Look at these humans. This explorer walked 100 kilometers with frostbite. This soldier fought for 3 days with a bullet in his lung. This scientist discovered a cure while dying from the disease she was studying. Humans do not quit. We die before we quit. And even death does not always stop us. We leave messages. We leave warnings. We leave legacies. Future humans remember. Future humans continue our work. The amphitheater was completely silent. Students stared at the images, at the stories, at the reality of what it meant to fight humans. Minho spoke again. His voice was soft, but everyone heard it. You said we should not try to slay humans. But surely there is a way to stop you, a way to defeat you. What is it? Ji-won looked at the young student, at his curious face, at his genuine question. Yes, there is a way. It is actually very simple, he paused. The room waited. You can kill one human easily, a bullet. A knife poison, we die like anyone else. But remember this, that one human had friends, had family, had people who cared. Now those people come looking for you. So you kill them too. You kill 10 humans. But those 10 humans knew other humans. Now 100 humans know what you did. They remember. They tell stories. They teach their children. For generations they remember. You cannot kill all humans. There are too many. They live on too many worlds. They have too many ships. And they all talk to each other. They all share information. You hurt one, you hurt all of them. Velthar stood up from where he had been watching. So the answer is simple. Never start, Ji-won nodded. Never start. Because once you start, humans will finish it. No matter how long it takes. No matter what it costs. We will finish it. He looked around the amphitheater, at all the different species, at all the young faces. But there is good news too. Humans make terrible enemies, but we make incredible friends. We are loyal. We are protective. We bond with other species easily. If you are our friend, we will walk through fire for you. We will face impossible odds for you. We will never abandon you. The same persistence that makes us dangerous makes us reliable. So the lesson is this, Ji-won said. Never try to slay humans. Never make us your enemy. But if you make us your friends, you will never be alone. You will never be without help. You will always have someone who refuses to quit on you. The students began to understand. Slowly, carefully. They had learned to see humans as prey, as weak targets. But now they saw something different. Humans were not prey. Humans were not predators either. Humans were something else, something unique. Minho raised his hand again. Can you show us? Can you teach us how to work with humans? Ji-won smiled. This time it was a real smile. Warm and genuine. Yes, I can teach you. But first you need to understand one more thing. Humans usually travel in groups. Let me show you what that means. He gestured to the entrance. 2 other humans entered the amphitheater. They wore military uniforms like Ji-won. They walked with the same confidence, the same quiet strength. This is Yoonji, Ji-won said. She is a combat medic. She can keep soldiers alive in impossible situations. This is Junho, he continued. He is a tactical specialist. He plans operations. He thinks 3 steps ahead. The 2 humans stood beside Ji-won. 3 humans. Together. They did not look particularly dangerous, but somehow standing together they looked different, stronger, more complete. Next week, Velthar announced, there will be another simulation, but this time, the class will face 3 humans working as a team. Volunteers? Many hands went up. Many students wanted to try. They had learned from the first simulation. They wanted to test themselves again. They wanted to understand. Ji-won looked at the eager faces, at the raised hands, at the students who now saw humans differently. He hoped they learned the right lesson, because the lesson was not that humans were unbeatable. The second simulation happened 2 weeks later. Commander Velthar wanted to give the students time to prepare, time to think, time to understand what they would face. 30 students volunteered. Velthar chose the best ones. Sora and Taeyang were among them. They had learned from the first simulation. They knew humans were dangerous, but they wanted to try again. They wanted to prove themselves. The mission was different this time. Not a hunt, not a chase, This was a rescue operation. The simulation created a scenario. Enemy forces held 3 hostages. The students had to infiltrate enemy territory, rescue the hostages, and escape. Standard military exercise, but the enemy forces were 3 humans: Ji-won, Yoonji, Junho. They had prepared defensive positions. They had weapons. They had time to plan. You have overwhelming numbers, Velthar told the students before they started. 30 against 3. Use that advantage. Work as a team. Cover each other. Do not let them separate you. The students nodded. They checked their weapons. They reviewed their plan. They were ready. The environment was different this time. An urban setting, buildings, streets, cover everywhere. Good for ambush. Good for defense. The simulation began. The students moved in 3 groups of 10. Each group approached from a different direction. They communicated through radios. They moved carefully, professionally. The first group reached the target building. It was quiet. Too quiet. Sora scanned with her thermal goggles. She saw 3 heat signatures inside. The hostages, perfect. They moved in through the front door. The building exploded. Not really exploded, but simulation effects made it feel real. Smoke, fire, pain. 5 students were hit by the trap. Not killed, but wounded. Out of the fight. Ji-won's voice came over the speakers. Calm, almost friendly. First lesson. Humans use traps. Always check for traps. The second and third groups converged on the building. 25 students now, still a huge advantage. They entered from multiple points. Windows, back door, roof. They surrounded the building completely. Inside, they found the hostages, 3 simulation dummies tied to chairs, but no humans. No Ji-won, no Yoonji, no Junho. The humans had left. They abandoned the mission, a student said. We won. Sora shook her head. No, this is another trap. Get out. Everyone out now, but it was too late. The doors slammed shut. The windows sealed. Gas poured in from vents. Not real gas. Simulation gas. But it affected the students like real gas. They coughed. They stumbled. Their vision blurred. Yoonji's voice came through the speakers. Second lesson. Humans adapt. We changed the mission. You came to rescue hostages. We came to capture hunters. The gas cleared. 20 students were unconscious. The simulation registered them as captured. 5 more were injured. Only Sora, Taeyang, and 3 others remained in the fight. They broke through a wall and escaped into the street. Regroup, Taeyang ordered. He was breathing hard. His armor was damaged. Find cover. We need to rethink this. They took position in a nearby building. 5 fighters against 3 humans. But somehow the numbers no longer felt like an advantage. They are playing with us, Sora said quietly. They could have eliminated us all. But they did not. Why? They are teaching us, Minho said. He was one of the 5 survivors, showing us how they think, how they fight, movement outside. The 3 humans walked down the middle of the street. No cover, no stealth. They were completely exposed. Take the shot, Taeyang said. All of us. Fire together. They opened fire. From multiple angles. Heavy weapons, precision weapons, everything they had. The street exploded with gunfire. Smoke and dust filled the air. When the smoke cleared, the humans were down. All 3. They lay in the street, not moving. Did we win? One student asked. Sora watched through her scope. Something was wrong. The bodies were too still. Too perfect. No, those are decoys. Move, move now. The real attack came from behind. From inside their own building. The humans had infiltrated while the students were focused on the decoys. Yoonji threw a stun grenade. Junho opened fire with his rifle. Ji-won charged forward with his knife. The fight was close, hand to hand. The students were skilled. They fought well. But something changed when they hurt Yoonji. Minho managed to hit her with a solid shot. She went down hard. The simulation registered critical damage. Everything stopped. Ji-won and Junho looked at Yoonji lying on the ground. Then they looked at each other. Something passed between them. An understanding. A decision. They attacked. Not like soldiers. Not like professionals. They attacked like animals. Like something primal and terrifying. Ji-won moved faster than before. Junho's shots became more aggressive. They stopped caring about tactics. Stopped caring about safety. They only cared about one thing. Revenge. Taeyang tried to fight Ji-won. The human was smaller, weaker, had no armor. but Jiwon did not seem to notice. He dodged the heavy weapons fire. He got close, too close. His knife found gaps in Taeyang's armor. The large Rexian went down. Junho shot 3 students in rapid succession. Perfect shots. No mercy, no hesitation, just cold efficiency. Sora was the last one standing. She faced both humans alone. Her rifle was empty. She drew her sidearm. "Wait," she said. "The simulation is over." "You won. Stop." But Jiwon kept advancing. His eyes were different now, darker, colder. "You killed our teammate. Our friend, our sister. The simulation does not matter anymore." Junho raised his rifle, aimed at Sora. His voice was flat, empty. Lesson 3. Never kill just one human. The simulation ended abruptly. Velthar had stopped it. All the effects faded, the weapons powered down. The injuries healed instantly. They were just students again. Just people in a training arena, but the fear remained. Sora had seen something in those human eyes. Something real. Something that the simulation could not fake. Eunji stood up. The wounds were gone. She was fine. It had all been a simulation. But Jiwon and Junho still looked at her with concern, making sure she was really okay. The 3 humans gathered together. They checked on each other. Small gestures. A hand on a shoulder. A nod, a quiet word. They were together again. They were complete again. In the viewing gallery, the students were silent. They had seen the whole thing. They had seen professional soldiers become something else, something more dangerous. Velthar activated the speakers. "Gather in the center. All of you. We need to discuss what just happened." The 30 students assembled. Some looked shaken. Some looked thoughtful. All of them looked different than when they started. Jiwon stepped forward. He looked calmer now, but the memory of his expression remained. "What you saw was real. We stopped being professional. We stopped following tactics. We only wanted to hurt the people who hurt our teammate." "Why?" Taeyang asked. "It was a simulation." She was not really hurt. "Why did you react like that?" Eunji answered. Her voice was gentle but firm. "Because humans bond. We call it pack bonding. When we work together, we become family. We protect family. We avenge family. It does not matter if the danger is real or simulated. Our instincts do not care about the difference. Most species work together," a student said. "Most species protect their team. This is not unique to humans." "True," Junho said, "but humans bond with everyone. Not just our own species. We bond with other species, with animals, with machines. If we work with you long enough, you become family. And we protect family absolutely." He looked around at the students. "Some of you have been my classmates for months. I know your names. I know your habits. If someone hurt you, I would feel it. I would want to help you. That is how humans work. We adopt everyone we meet." Sora spoke quietly. "You were going to kill me." "In the simulation, your eyes. You were not going to stop." Jiwon met her gaze. "Yes, for a moment I forgot it was a simulation. I only knew that you hurt Eunji. That made you an enemy. And enemies of my family do not get mercy." "This is the lesson," Velthar said from the control room. "This is what I wanted you to understand. Humans fight differently when their family is threatened. They stop thinking. They stop planning. They become pure violence, pure determination." Minho raised his hand slowly. "So the lesson is to never separate humans? To never hurt one while others watch?" "The lesson," Jiwon said, "is much simpler. Do not make humans your enemy. Because if you do, you face not just one human. You face all their family, all their friends, all the people who bonded with them. And we will not stop. We will not forgive. We will come for you." He smiled slightly. It was not threatening, just sad. "But if you make us your friends, you gain that same protection. You become our family. We will walk through fire for you. We will face impossible odds for you. We will never abandon you. The choice is yours," Eunji added. "Enemy or family. But choose carefully. Because once humans decide, we do not change our minds easily." The students understood now. They had learned something more important than tactics. More important than weak points or weapons. They had learned about loyalty, about family, about what it meant to bond with humans. Taeyang stood up. His massive frame was imposing, but his voice was respectful. "I would like to learn more. To work with humans. To understand this bond you speak of." Many other students nodded. Sora, Minho, others. They had seen the danger of making humans enemies. Now they wanted to see the benefit of making humans friends. Jiwan looked at their faces. At the curiosity. At the willingness to learn. He nodded slowly. Then we will teach you. Not just combat, but cooperation, trust, loyalty. 6 months passed. The semester ended. New classes began. Commander Velthar sat in his office reviewing reports. The academy was quiet today. Most students were on leave, but Velthar had work to do. He always had work to do. A knock on the door. Enter, he said without looking up. Jiwan walked in. He wore his dress uniform. Clean and pressed. Medals on his chest. He looked different from the injured human lying in the medical bay 6 months ago. More confident. More certain. Officer Jiwan, Velthar said. He set down his tablet. I received your transfer orders. You are leaving the academy. Yes, Commander, Jiwan said. I have been assigned to an active combat unit. A mixed species task force. They need someone with training experience. Velthar nodded slowly. Your time here was productive. The students learned much from you. I learned much from you. You designed that course to teach students how to defeat different species, Jiwan said. That was the wrong question from the start. I know that now, Velthar admitted. I have been teaching combat tactics for 20 years. I thought I understood warfare. Understood species. Understood how to fight efficiently. But I missed something important. What did you miss? Jiwan asked. Velthar stood and walked to the window. Outside, students trained in the courtyard. Different species working together. Learning together. I missed the cost. I taught students how to kill efficiently, how to defeat enemies, but I never taught them when not to fight, when to choose peace, when to choose cooperation. He turned back to Jiwan. You asked the right question, not how to slay humans, but whether we should try, and the answer taught my students more than 20 years of tactics lessons ever did. The galaxy almost learned that lesson the hard way, Jiwan said quietly. 200 years ago, the First Contact War. Do you know that history? I know some of it, Velthar said. I know humanity fought against a coalition of species. I know the war lasted 3 years. I know it ended with treaties. That is the official version, Jiwan said. The clean version. Let me tell you what really happened. He sat down slowly. His face became serious, distant, like he was remembering something painful. Humans reached faster than light travel in 2147. We were excited. We wanted to meet other species. Make friends, trade, learn. We were naive. The first species we met saw us as primitive, weak, easy to control. They attacked our colony ships, killed thousands of humans. They thought it would scare us. Make us go back to Earth, stay in our own system. It did the opposite, Velthar said. He was beginning to understand. Yes, Jiwan said. It made us angry. Angry like you have never seen. We mobilized. Every human government. Every colony. Every ship. We stopped exploring and started preparing for war. A war we did not want, but a war we would finish. The aliens formed a coalition. 7 species. Millions of soldiers. Advanced weapons. They thought they would crush us easily. Humans had just learned space travel. We had basic weapons. Primitive ships. No allies. Jiwan's voice became harder. But they forgot something. Humans had been fighting wars for thousands of years. On Earth, against each other. We knew warfare. We knew tactics. We knew how to hate, how to persist, how to never quit. The war lasted 3 years, Velthar said. 3 years of hell, Jiwan corrected. The coalition won every major battle. They destroyed our fleets. They bombed our colonies. They killed millions of humans. They thought they were winning. But something strange was happening. Every time they destroyed a human force, a bigger force appeared. Every colony they bombed, 10 more ships were built. Every human they killed created 10 more soldiers. You were outproducing them, Velthar said. More than that, Jiwan said. We were out-hating them. They fought because their governments told them to. We fought because we were angry. Because they killed our families, our friends, our children. Every battle made us stronger, more determined, more willing to sacrifice everything. By year 3, the coalition was exhausted. They had won every battle, but they were losing the war. Their economy was collapsing. Their soldiers were deserting. Their people wanted peace. But humans were just getting started. We had converted our entire civilization to war production. Every factory made weapons. Every person contributed. We could have fought for 10 more years, 20 years, forever if necessary. Velthar sat down slowly. So they surrendered. They begged for peace, Jiwan said. They offered to leave human space, to pay reparations, to sign any treaty we wanted, because they finally understood. You cannot slay humanity. You can kill individual humans. You can win battles. But you cannot kill the idea of humanity, the will of humanity, the memory of humanity. After the war, other species in the galaxy learned the lesson. Never fight humans. Never try to slay them, because even if you win, you lose. The cost is too high. The consequences last too long. But something else happened too, Jiwan continued. His voice softened. The species that made peace with us discovered something. Humans make terrible enemies, but incredible allies. We are loyal. We share our technology. We help our friends. We protect them. Within 50 years, humanity had strong alliances with dozens of species. Within 100 years, we were integrated into galactic society. Within 200 years, we were teaching combat tactics at the Galactic Military Academy. He smiled slightly. The species that tried to slay us became our friends. The coalition that attacked us now trades with us, fights alongside us, learns from us, because they chose cooperation over conflict. They chose to see us as allies instead of enemies. Velthar was quiet for a long time. His forearms rested on the desk. His face showed an expression that humans might call thoughtful. Maybe even sad. I designed that course poorly, he said finally. I taught students how to kill. I should have taught them when not to kill, when to choose peace, when to choose friendship. You taught them in the end, Jiwan said. That is what matters, Sora, Taiyang, Minho, the others. They learned the right lesson. They understand now. Speaking of which, Velthar said, I have new transfer orders here. For Sora, Taiyang, Minho, and 12 others. They have been assigned to the same task force as you. Mixed Species Unit. Deep Space Operations, Jiwan looked surprised. They requested assignment with me? Yes, Velthar said. They said they wanted to learn more. To work with humans. To become family, as you call it. They trust you. They respect you. They want to fight alongside you. Something warm flickered in Jiwan's eyes. Not quite tears, but close. They understand then. They really understand. They understand that humans make excellent friends, Velthar said, and they want that friendship. That loyalty, that bond you demonstrated in the simulations. A notification appeared on Velthar's screen. He glanced at it. The new class is assembling. Advanced Combat Tactics. First day, I need to give the opening lecture. What will you teach them? Jiwan asked. Velthar stood. He straightened his uniform. I will teach them the same lesson I taught last semester, but better this time, clearer. I will show them how to fight. But more importantly, I will show them when not to fight, when to choose cooperation, when to make allies instead of enemies. They walked together toward the amphitheater. The halls were full of students. Different species, different homeworlds, different languages, but all here for the same reason. To learn, to grow, to prepare for service. The amphitheater doors opened. 2,000 students sat waiting. Jiwan followed Velthar to the stage. The commander had asked him to sit in on the first lecture, to watch. To make sure he got it right this time. Velthar stood at center stage. The lights focused on him. The room became quiet. He looked at all the young faces, all the species represented, all the potential soldiers and officers and leaders. Welcome to Advanced Combat Tactics, he began. This course will teach you how to fight, how to win battles, how to protect your people and your homeworlds. You will learn about weapons, about tactics, about the strengths and weaknesses of different species. He paused. Let the words sink in, then continued. But the most important lesson I will teach you is this. Knowing how to fight is not the same as knowing when to fight. The best victory is the battle you never have to start. The best enemy is the ally you choose to make instead. A student in the back raised a hand. Commander, how do we know when to fight and when to make peace? That is the question, Velthar said. And it has no simple answer. But I can teach you to ask better questions. Not how do I defeat this species, but how do I work with this species? Not what are their weaknesses, but what are their strengths? Not how do I slay them, but how do I make them my allies? He brought up a display. It showed different species, humans, Kelthran, Vrexian, many others. Today we will discuss one species in particular, humans. Let me start with a question. A question I asked last semester. A question that taught me as much as it taught my students. The amphitheater was silent, waiting. Velthar looked at Jiwan. The human nodded. Slightly. Permission, understanding, friendship. Velthar turned back to his students. How do you slay humans? The room filled with murmurs. Students talked to each other. Some looked at the display, at the image of a human standing calm and ready. Some looked at Jiwan sitting at the side of the stage. In the front row, a new student raised her hand. Velthar nodded to her. She stood slowly, young, eager, ready to prove herself.